welcome everyone to the September 8th, 2022 meeting of Burlington's Conservation Commission. The first item of business is to do a roll call, and we'll see who is here. I'll call each person by their name, and they signify by saying here or present or something similar. All right, Commissioner Don Bernstein. Here. Commissioner Indra Deb. Here. Commissioner Bill Boyven.
Here. Here.
Commissioner Jennifer O'Riordan. No.
Nope.
Okay. Commissioner Ed LaTurco.
Here.
Commissioner Kent Moffitt.
Here.
And for the record, the chair, Larry Cohen, is here as well. All right. Our administrator, John Keeley.
Here.
Assistant Administrator Eileen Coleman.
Here.
All right, so with that being done, we have public participation is the next thing. Is there anyone here who is in the audience that would like to talk about something that we're not getting to on the agenda? Either online or in person? All right, so there's no one here for public participation. All right, so the next item, item 3 on our agenda is approval of minutes, August 11th, 2022. I see we have those minutes. Does anyone want to discuss anything?
Good to me.
Oh, good here.
If there's no comments, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 11th, 2022?
So moved. Ed,
Okay, second?
Second. Bill.
All right. So all those in favor, let me call the names. Don Bernstein, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra Deb?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
All right. Ed LaTurco?
yes.
Kent Moffitt?
Stay.
And the chair votes yes. So by a vote of 600, I think we have it.
Jennifer's not here.
It's
6501.
650.
Is that right? Or
Who abstained?
No, it was 6-0.
Oh, you were in yeah, okay. All right, by a vote of 501, the minutes of August 11th, 2022 are approved. Okay. All right, next on the agenda, we have a request for emergency certification. This is the town of Burlington, Burlington Mall Road culvert lining. Welcome, Mr. Hayes.
Thank you. Tom Hayes, town engineer. I'm here for request of emergency certification for the installation or for the repair of a 84-inch culvert that runs on the Mall Road. Long Meadow Brook flows through this culvert. Back late May, we had a sinkhole open up. Not only is the sinkhole over the culvert, but it's also directly over a 10-inch water line. So we did an internal investigation, and the pipe is compromised. The bottom is completely rotted out, and joints are separated, and material is coming through, causing the sinkhole in the road. So we filed an emergency DCAM declaration in order to expedite the procurement process. So we solicited prices for a cured-in-place liner as well as a spin cast liner. Spin cast liner was cheaper, and it was also they could get to it quicker. We're talking a 3-month lead time for the to fabricate the cured in place. So we went with the spin cast. National Water Main had the lowest price. We have them coming in probably mid-September, end of September, to start the work. The work, pretty much all the work is going to be done within the footprint of the road. So everything is underground. There's no digging. What we'll have to do is bypass the Long Meadow Brook. So up until this point, it was pretty dry, but with this last little bit of rain, we have definitely water flowing through it. So what the bypass is the same as what we're doing with the stream cleaning. We'll do a sandbag the stream and put a pump in it, and then we can pump around that culvert. We were lucky enough that there's a catch basin right there, 12-inch pipe that goes across Mall Road parallels the 84-inch pipe. So it discharges at the exact same location. If there's any sort of problem with sediment, we can use dirt bags or wattles or hay bales to capture that sediment. So that's the game plan.
All right, Eileen, or John, do you have any comments on this?
So the only real concern is the dewatering. So obviously they need to take care not to suck up a lot of sediments and discharge it into the stream. So I was thinking one of the things that we could condition as part of this is that the catch basin that they're pumping, you're gonna pump into a catch basin. That be cleaned beforehand and after the project is done? Clean out the catch basin. I don't know, was there any other draft conditions that I put in? That's just a suggestion, it's up to you, but.
No, you said catch basins and culverts used for bypassing stream flows shall be cleaned before and after culvert repair, and then filter bags shall be used to filter stream flows prior to discharge to catch basins. So just the filter bags.
That's,
Is that the only conditions you're proposing for this?
Right.
Yes.
So there's no document in front of us?
Well,
pardon?
there is, but I can share it, but it's not.
That's all right, I heard what
Oh,
you,
it's an emergency certification, so it's
just
just
one of couple conditions, no document.
I can share it, but it's a very simple document. Let me just,
Yep, that's fine.
and it's gonna pop up. Those two things that are hard to read from over there are the two special conditions. So that's what the cert just looks like this. Okay?
Okay, good. Let's see if anyone has any comments. Dawn, any further comment?
No, I think we need to get it done.
Okay, Indra?
Yeah, same thing, it's an emergency, so it has to be, got it done.
All right, Ed?
No, good reaction on DPW.
All right. Kent?
For that.
Bill?
Just one question for Tom, but you said spin cast, is that what you called it?
Yep.
That reline the pipe out by spraying something in, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a cementitious material. So the pipe has to be prepped, so the invert where it's all rotted out, that have to be cleaned up, and they'll pour a concrete floor pretty much on the invert of the pipe. Any place where there is separation of joints, they'll stuff that and spray in some cement. So it's similar like gunite, but they use like a wand, which will actually spin the material onto the existing pipe. So the pipe will be the host pipe, the existing corrugated metal pipe, and they pretty much create a concrete pipe within that pipe.
Oh, concrete,
The
okay.
structural pipe is designed by a professional engineer, so it is structural and should last, well, hopefully last another 50 years.
Thanks.
And the only question I had, does this spin cast material, does it have to be reapplied at a certain, like every 5 years or something?
No, I think they just build it up to whatever thickness is required by the structural engineer, and then it should be good, until it, again, everything, we tend to have a 50-year lifespan on all our pipe work, so.
We're not talking about a regular maintenance thing.
Nope, it'll go on whatever thickness they need, whether it's 2 inches or 3 inches.
Good. All right, anybody have a question on this? This is an emergency certification for the Burlington Mall Road culvert lining that is now quite broken. All right, then could I have a motion to ratify the emergency certification for the town of Burlington DPW on Burlington Mall Road to reline the culvert?
So moved.
Moved on.
Second? Someone seconded it?
Second, Indra,
Okay.
second.
All right, let's see. Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So by a vote of 600, the emergency certification is approved.
Thank you very much.
See you, Mr. Hayes.
Need to let us know when you're ready to do it. I won't make it effective until right before then, because it's good for 30 days.
Okay. All right, thank you much.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Take care.
Okay. Okay, next, we have a continued from June 9th and August 11th, a request for determination. This is 174 Wynn Street by Sonny Ferranti. It's demolish a single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good. And how are you?
Good, thank you. So,
I am again representing Sunny Ferrante. My name is Mary Trudeau, and we are pursuing a request for determination of applicability hearing with the commission. At our last meeting, the commission asked us to revisit some of our site plan decisions that we had made. In particular, they asked that the house be slid forward 10 feet closer to Wynn Street, which would increase the setback between the wetland resources on the site. If you recall, we have both bordering vegetated wetlands, jurisdictional buffer zone, and a local riverfront area on this property. So we have slid the house forward 10 feet, so it is now, I think, 40 feet off of Wynn Street rather than 50 as we had originally proposed. The commission had also asked that we show permanent demarcation in the form of a fence or a boulder wall on the property to show a permanent limit of work line. So we have added that to our site plan as well. We're showing a split rail fence, and that's negotiable if the commission decides they would prefer another type of barrier. And the third point that we had was there are some old cars in the backyard, and we are removing those cars from the site. And I had suggested that we replant the footprints with native shrubs to prevent intrusion from native or non-native and invasive plant species into that newly created void. So all of those changes have been made. The commission had also asked that Mr. Ferrante have a conversation with the Board of Health about the removal of the vehicles and the potential for a soil contamination, and he has agreed to do that.
okay. All right, Eileen or John, any comments, please?
Nothing really. You all had a sort of spirited discussion about this the last time, and I think it was actually Indra's suggestion that you kind of compromise and ask them to move it forward 10 feet. So that's, as Mary just explained, that's exactly what they did. As you can see on their plan, you know, they put in the fence. They're proposing the shrubs underneath where the cars go. I also had a word with Christine Mathis about the cars, and unless there's a fairly large stain under there, it's probably nothing to worry about because gasoline would have evaporated long ago. I think they provided everything you asked for. I don't have any issues with this.
It's good to hear. Okay, let's go around and see if there's any last questions, and then we have some draft documents for a negative conditional determination. Let's go with Dawn. Dawn, any further comment on this one?
See this, Mary?
I did, thank you.
No further comment.
All right, Indra.
No, I'm happy that they were able to move the house towards the street, 10 feet.
Right.
That's good.
Exactly. All right, about Ed,
Nothing to add.
all right, how about Kent? Bill,
Nope, they addressed everything we asked. Much appreciated.
I'm just wondering about something. In pulling the house 10 feet forward, that leaves X distance of flat area before that slope starts. Do you happen to know how much that area is, like, when you step out the door, it's flat, and then some distance off, it goes down the slope?
No, I do not have an exact setback for that. I do believe that Mr. Ferrante is proposing a walkout basement on this yard, which will accommodate some of that drop because you won't have foundation wall showing.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand your concern about the,
No, I was more wondering how much of a flat backyard he has before the slope, that's all. But it's not necessary to know that in order to approve this.
yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
The fact that he pulled it 10 feet, I'm more than happy with.
Yeah, that also reduces the length of the driveway. I mean, there are several positive features when you
Right.
make that move.
Right, good, okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience for 174 Wind Street? Anybody has a comment before we move forward on it? Okay, the record should show no one, no abutters or other citizens have a comment on it. So Eileen, would you like to do a quick review of documents for the project?
Yep, will do. Just pulling it up now so everybody online can see it too. So we referenced the plan, which was last updated August 12th, and they also provided stormwater calculations. The applicant proposed to demolish an existing house that's within the riverfront area to a locally regulated stream and to construct a new residence and driveway within the riverfront area and within the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. The commission finds that the stream is likely intermittent, so there's no state regulated RFA. The new house would be approximately 65 feet from the BVW and approximately 140 feet from the stream. And those are just in yellow because until just now, I didn't have a hard copy to scale against. I'm pretty sure they're right, but I'll confirm exact feet before we print it. It's about that. The building would be within the riverfront area under the Burlington Wetland Bylaw only and within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW regulated by both Burlington and the DEP. We go through a history there about how when we first went out, we determined that we realized the wetland was closer, so the applicant asked Mary to flag them, and they were about 22 feet closer than they looked just going by the town aerials, the GIS aerials. The majority of the on-site buffer zone and much of the RFA was maintained as lawn by the previous owner for many years. The applicant worked with the commission to change the location of the proposed house such that it was as far as feasibly possible from the wetland and stream and to mitigate for the previous maintenance of RDA or FA, that should be, as lawn and storage of old vehicles. The commission regulated the stormwater management of this house, this project, which is house construction, under the erosion control bylaw as well. So this just says that we're proposing to approve this project as described. And they're going to put in sediment barriers around the limit of work before that starts, at least 9 inches in diameter. Construction materials shall be disposed of off-site legally. Stockpiles should be nowhere near the wetland or kept away from the street if they're more than 20 feet high. Clean up any tracking that occurs, no filling or grading of property beyond what is required for the approved work and beyond what is shown on the approved plan. And the project shouldn't increase rate or volume of runoff to others. Anything that falls in the wetlands or stream, clean out, and no invasive species should be planted anywhere within Burlington. The rooftop runoff shall be infiltrated using Cultec infiltrator units, and if the applicant proposes to change those, he should only do so with the approval of the Conservation Department. And the driveway will be crowned so that runoff will be directed to two stone infiltration trenches, not to the street. And again, if that's going to be changed, he should just run that through the conservation staff. And a permanent demarcation line, it's going to be a fence probably, shall be installed no less than 30 feet from BBW line to allow for natural restoration of a portion of the inner riverfront area. And the area beyond that demarcation shall be left undisturbed and allowed to naturally revegetate. No pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides within 100 feet of the wetland. And the last ones are about, we have permission to go on the site just to check on things and how they go about getting their occupancy permit.
Okay, all right. Does anyone who is online or a commissioner, any of the 3 commissioners online have a comment on the draft document?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, I think that was 3 no's. Okay. Kent, anything? Bill?
Nope.
All right, 2 things. One is, I'm suggesting to the commission that since he agreed to talk with about any procedures required, but with the town environmental engineer, I think we should have it in our document. Is that a problem?
No, I'll just tell you what she told me, is that she had suggested that if they were amenable, that I or somebody else could just be present when they're moving the cars. And if there's a stain, then we would report to DEP, and if there isn't, and it would be up to DEP to do something about it.
So where in this document does it say that the person should notify somebody at the town to go watch them being removed?
It doesn't.
Should it?
It certainly could. I know that Christine wasn't too worried about the idea that there was going to be a significant,
They look in pretty beat up condition.
they were, but in order for something to be reportable, I think it's a 5 gallon.
It's a pretty high threshold.
It's a fairly big quantity, and it's very unlikely there would be that amount between the two cars. You don't hold that much in a car.
You don't hold that much oil or transmission fluid or anything. The only thing you would have would be gasoline.
And
That would have
that
evaporated.
would have evaporated, yeah.
All the oil drained out, it wouldn't be 5 gallons or whatever that limit was.
So
it's unlikely.
we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other question I have is, once we get where we're looking at a certificate, I mean, we're not doing a certificate, once we get where the project is finished and the driveway is not pitched to that, there's nothing we can do at that point. Once the driveway is done. So is there anywhere, any of these documents that before that driveway is graded, that they will see that the driveway must be pitched to that? Because so many of these driveways I have seen, they are flat. They don't pitch, we put the stone in and the water doesn't go in that direction. So is there a particular, I'm looking for a little guidance here. Is there a document that will draw attention to the fact that it has to be that way? I'm throwing that out for anybody to discuss.
I think I would put it in this determination. That even though it's not like an order of conditions that you get a release from, it would be something that the staff and Mr. Ferrante would be looking at when they go for an occupancy certificate.
Oh, I think it's,
How about at the end here where it says,
well, it already says that in,
shall not sign off until the site is stabilized and the driveway is appropriately.
we already have it in this document, in the draft. It does say, the new driveway shall be pitched so that the runoff from the driveway shall be directed to a stone infiltration trench. But we've had this, all I'm bringing up, and we can
Yeah.
pass on this if we want as a commission. But a lot of times the driveway just doesn't end up the way it was intended, and very little of the runoff actually flows in that direction. It takes the contractor to purposely either crown the driveway for a large driveway or slant the driveway so that the runoff goes in the stone. Otherwise, we have a nice stone driveway that's not that, a stone trench that's not that attractive.
Yeah, I think Eileen's point that you could add it in at the end of the section under 15 as an additional sentence would bring it to their attention when they were trying to get a release.
That also might get them to pay a little bit more attention, is what you're saying.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, this is Indra. Can I say something?
Yeah, when he's not too loud, can we?
Can I say something?
Oh, that's better, actually. He's closer now.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we ask for for a certification from the civil engineer that the driveway was done properly as per, design?
We couldn't really hear that, Indra. Can you say that again?
I said, can we ask for a certification from the civil engineer
Oh,
that
from the
the
toilet.
driveway was, or the whole construction was done as per drawings and this is in compliance with all the requirements?
Well, that would really require, I suppose, an as-built plan, which we don't usually ask for determination, but I do go and inspect the sites before they get a CO.
Right. I think Ms. Trudeau's suggestion is good, if we can do that. Just put it in there, and it implies that if the occupancy permit could be held up if you don't pay attention to this.
Okay, I just changed it to say the site is stabilized with either temporary or permanent cover. That's what it already said. And stormwater is being infiltrated on site. Is that enough, or do you specifically want to reference the driveway?
And that the stormwater off the driveway is directed to the
Trenches on either side.
trenches, something like that. If we could do that.
Although we did say that they might be able to do something else as long as they have permission. And that's infiltrate, and that's stormwater. Okay, yeah, got it.
That's great. Thanks, Eileen. Okay. All right, so Ms. Trudeau, are you okay with these conditions?
I am, thank you.
Okay, okay, where are we? Okay, we have a draft.
Negative conditional determination. Could I have a motion to approve a negative conditional determination under Burlington bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act for the project at 174 Wind Street for Sunny Ferranti?
Sure that goes.
Motion?
So moved, Don.
Perfect. Second?
Second, then.
All right, this is good. All right, so Don, how do you vote on this?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Okay, Bill?
Yes.
And Kent?
Yes.
The chair votes yes by a vote of 600. Negative conditional determination has been approved for 174 Wind Street.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Night.
All right, notice is hereby given, the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting, during which time we have a request for determination of applicability filed by Stephanie Hammond. The commission will take all information related to the proposed removal of 5 trees, filling and grading the backyard and enclosing an existing deck, and the commission will thereafter issue a determination. The work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands. The property is located at 1 Elizabeth Ave. The application is being heard under both the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. And if you'd like a copy of this application, you simply email conservation@burlington.org.
Oh, this is.
Okay, is there someone here for that one? 1 Elizabeth.
Hi, this is Chris Hamill, Stephanie's husband.
Good to see you.
Good to see all of you. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, our pleasure. So now tell me, the way this works is you get to speak first. So since you've introduced yourself and you live at 1 Elizabeth, yeah, that part's done. And so you get to talk as much as you would like about describing what you want to do and why.
Sure. So my family and I moved in 2019. The house was built in 2019. When it was built, we were kind of left with, somewhat of a small, pretty hilly yard with a number of trees. So really what we're looking to accomplish is just create a better play space for our kids. We have 4 young kids, 6 and under. So they always want to be outside. Right now we go outside, but it's not the best place for them to play. So we're just looking to kind of level out the backyard. We have a few trees in the back corner of our house that are right now are nearly touching our house. They, come close to hanging over our deck. They hang over our patio, and they're starting to just naturally destroy things from the natural tree fallings from those. And we have 2 other large trees that also kind of on the side of our house that kind of dump a lot of things on our lawn as well. So what we're hoping to do is just kind of level out the yard and remove the trees and really just give our kids a better space to play.
All right.
And those are the
Very
those
good.
are the 2 trees on the side there.
That was a great summary. Thank you. Okay,
Sure.
so John or Eileen, do you have comments to give the commission on this one?
Sure, I'll take this one. So the commission did a site walk up to the site yesterday. Looked at the trees. The trees at the rear left of the property are, there's 1 ash and the rest are Norway maples. So the ash appeared to have a damaged trunk from something. I don't know how it happened, but it does have a damage on it. So that one is definitely problematic. And the Norway maples, I have no hesitation in removing Norway maples. Unfortunately, beyond the fence, a lot of the trees in the buffer zone are also Norway maples. The 2 on the side are, I think, my recollection was they're Colorado blue spruce, also not native. but also pretty far from the wetlands. So their removal won't have much of an impact on the wetlands. As to the other work proposed, I just don't think that the plan gives us enough detail of what's proposed to be done. It's just, there's a note that says grade and level back slope, and then there's some scribbling showing where it's to happen. I think because of the proximity of this work to the wetlands, and in addition to the fact that the order of conditions when the site was built actually specified that any further grading on the site or any grading on the site would require the filing of notice of intent, that if you were to decide to waive that requirement for a full NOI for this project, you should at least have a more detailed plan showing what's happening here. So from this, it's not clear if part of it's being cut and leveled, or if they're bringing in fill and putting in a retaining wall. So I think a more detailed sketch is really required before you can make any sort of.
In other words, how much filling and where is happening?
Yeah, this is just too imprecise.
So, Mr. Hamel, do you understand what our administrator is saying?
So looking for a little more detail on what exactly we're kind of proposing as far as, the space that we are leveling and how much we're, I guess, bringing in to fill that space. Is that right?
Yes. So the actual dimensions of the area, and showing where material is being removed and where material is being added. It's not clear if you're cutting into that slope or if you're bringing in fill. So all of that should go on some sort of a better sketch.
Okay.
Yeah, you had mentioned a retaining wall of some sort. That should be shown on the plan and some description of what it is and how tall it is, et cetera.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, let's see if any of the commissioners have other questions. How about Don? Anything on this one?
Nothing more than what was already discussed.
Okay, Indra?
Same thing, only one comment I have, just what John mentioned already. The tree which is good in good shape, I don't think that should be removed. That's the only comment I have.
Okay, Ed?
The only thing that I was concerned about after we kind of left, and I looked back at the property on the other side of the fence on the left side of the house where those 3 trees are questionable to come out. If anything's to be leveled there, it'd be very interesting to see leveling. What does it do up against that fence? Or that's pretty much the same level on either side of the fence. So I'm trying to wonder what the leveling would do. So what's being requested would probably answer that.
Okay. Okay, let's go with Kent, I guess.
Well, it starts with the cover, I agree with Bill, though, but there's a retaining wall going in.
Bill? Have anything else?
The only other thing was beyond the fence, there was some dumping and some looked like maybe some construction material or something like that, some panels or whatever. We certainly don't want dumping to begin to encroach onto the regulated area at all. So would, especially the non-biologic material of construction material, stuff like that, should certainly get that removed.
Well, those piles, I think, are well within the buffer zone, right?
I think so.
I think they are.
Buffer zone? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Okay,
Yeah, the back porch is in the 40-foot no build, I think, right?
okay. All right, I have 2 questions. One of them is, actually, both of them are for John. Or Eileen. If the removal of the 3 trees on the left-hand side, is there anything about those 3 trees, would the wetland, which is what we're trying to protect, will it have sufficient shade, or it's a non-issue if those trees are removed?
No, there's a lot of trees on the other side of the fence between the fence and the wetland.
Okay, so it's a non-issue for the protection of the wetlands.
Right.
Okay, that's good. And the other question I had is, you said something, well, they're Norway maples, so those can be removed. Is there something about Norway maples that they're not good or something?
Right, they're on the state prohibited plant list. You can't buy Norway maples any longer.
Why is that?
They're very invasive.
So they spread.
Right.
Unintended spread.
Right.
Oh, okay, well, that explains why you sort of made the comment the way you did.
By non-native.
Okay, all right.
I also neglected to mention that there's one other thing they're proposing is there's the back deck. They're proposing to enclose that. And I have no issue with that.
So what it sounds like is the commission, from what I've heard, correct me if this is wrong, the commission is taking no exception to Mr. Hamel, your request to remove the trees. The issue is regarding the filling and more definition of how much you are filling and where, or if you're cutting into the slope. And the other question I had is, did this application say that they were thinking of moving their back fence back at all?
They would not be allowed to. That was permanent demarcation.
Okay, so that was part of when we originally permitted that.
Right.
All right, okay. So, is there anyone in the audience, see if there's any comment here for this proposed project at 1 Elizabeth Ave? Is there anyone online that wants to make a comment or here in person? All right, so what it seems is up to the commission, but it seems like we need more information. Is there any other commissioners that object to that?
Nope.
Is there any commissioner that feels strongly we should just move ahead with what we have?
Nope.
But we need to see the detail, especially on the retaining wall.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Hamel, I guess hopefully you heard all this.
Yep.
And it sounds like the trees are a non-issue, but more detail on the wall and the filling and cutting, if that's what you're doing, is needed. So I guess we have to send you back to get the more detail, and then we'll hopefully, if we get what we need, we can close this out at that time.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll follow up with some additional details on kind of, or plans with, the dimensions where we're showing material being added or removed. And also details on the retaining wall. For the material being added or moved, just want to make sure like we're providing that in the right format that would be useful for this group.
Sure,
Is that something that would?
You are reading my mind. I was just about to exactly bring that up to make sure you don't prepare something, for example, on your own, and it's not what is really
You don't want
needed.
my sketch, I assume.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but I think you need to talk with the staff is really, and make sure that whatever you're proposing to do, we don't want you to spend unnecessary amount of funds either here. Okay, so call the
Yeah.
office, come in and talk to them before you do anything drastic.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Sounds good. We'll give them a call.
All right. It was good to see you. Thank you very much for your help with this.
So do we continue this September?
Okay, we need a motion to continue. Could I have a motion to continue the request for determination at 1 Elizabeth Ave? Is there such a motion?
So moved, Ken.
Second,
Okay, could I have a vote here? Don, how do you vote?
yes,
Indra?
Say the date.
Yes,
Ed?
Continuing to September 22nd.
The motion is to September 22nd. That's correct, sorry. Okay, and Ed?
Yes, I said, yep.
Okay, yeah. Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And the chair is yes. So the request for determination of applicability on 1 Elizabeth Ave is continued until September 22nd. All right, sir. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
All right. Thank you all very much. Have a nice night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Okay. We're on agenda item 5C. Notice is hereby given. The Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting during which time we have a request for determination filed by Avatar Construction. The commission will be taking information related to the proposed demolition of a single-family dwelling and the construction of a new single-family dwelling. The commission will thereafter issue a determination. The work will be within the 200-foot riverfront area located at 4 Morrison Road in Burlington. The application is being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. And again, the copy of this application is also available by writing to conservation@burlington.org. All right, is there somebody here for 4 Morrison Ave? Three of us. Oh,
Big group.
this will be a challenge, clearly.
That's to everybody. Hopefully not.
Darn, there's a stand over there if you want.
Oh, okay, yeah, there's an easel over
Didn't
here.
realize you were gonna have paper.
Yeah, I just thought the site plan might be good to
Okay, I'll probably share it online as well, if
Okay.
I have it.
Should we?
I might-
Yeah, it's a good spot for it.
Eileen, where should they set it up?
Yeah, why don't you try and, if you want to try that, but I can share as well
All
the,
right, I mean, if you have this file, it's
I do, yeah.
Gotta be the survey.
That was the one from the RDA,
Yes.
or is that the civil plan?
No, that's what's been submitted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll pull that up if that's easier and then go wherever you want.
over here. There's that.
Shows. Just to clarify, the civil plan is going to be submitted as drainage, which is not a part of this meeting.
Well, it is because, remember, we had this discussion about how we're going, we do usually regulate this under the stormwater bylaw as well.
So the drainage, the reason there was a little confusion is because the civil engineer got the wrong survey CAD drawing. Therefore,
That's why the distance, we had the
you were right
discrepancy.
in that
Oh.
regard, and he was incorrect.
Okay,
So then I stepped in to fix that and found out that he didn't have the right survey CAD drawing from the surveyor. Meaning there were revisions and he didn't get the last revision. So now he has it and now he's working on that to make sure that he has the right
so
drawing.
are you within the 200 foot or not?
We are inside the 200-foot. Jim, correct? Can you come up?
Sorry,
Yes, it's
you should just present.
leading-
Yeah, I can present and kind of explain.
And it'll all become clear.
Before you do all that, you should introduce yourselves. If you're from Avatar Construction, you can say that, I mean, all that stuff. And then you launch into your basic presentation, and then I will go to them, and then this dialogue can keep on going.
Yeah, so we have Robert Passione, registered architect in Massachusetts here. He also directly works for Avatar Construction. I'm Nazar Vincent. I personally bought the home under my name. However, I also own Avatar Construction as the president and owner of the company, who will be the performing contractor on this project. Jim Patnoy, project manager of the project as well.
All right, we have the whole team here. Fantastic.
Plus, the whole team is also at the office, but this is a little portion of it.
Portion of the team, okay. All right, so the floor is yours, but you gotta speak into one of the microphones a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just explain real quick. So we are tearing down an existing single-family home and rebuilding a new, larger two-story single-family home. I've been working with Avatar for a few years now, and over that time, we've developed kind of a signature single-family home that we, do in various sites. So we applied that design to this site. Unfortunately, this site is rather narrow compared to what we've typically worked on. So we tweaked the design a little bit, and in doing so, we actually rotated the garage. We have a two-car garage so that it is on the rear of the building and has a side access from the driveway. And you can see on the plan there that section that's sticking out in the back of the house. And that rear of that garage is about 169 feet off the property line and about 184 feet to the edge of Brook. So that's where we're actually violating the 200-foot setback. We've also, since this is a larger structure than the other houses in the neighborhood, and also desire to give a larger front lawn, we actually pushed the house back 20 feet from where the original structure is located. So that is another sort of design we did for this house. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we have the driveway and then a little bit of a turnaround area there. So that's kind of an overview of where we ended up with this one. So we're seeking relief to be in that 200-foot setback a bit.
Sure. Okay, good. Very good presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you. John or Eileen, would you like to give us a rundown of the resource area and any comments you have or concerns?
Okay, well, I guess it'll be me. So the confusion there was over versions of the drawings that I saw, because it wasn't clear at some points whether they were inside or outside the 200-foot buffer. So just to show you, this is the existing house as it is. There's a garage kind of far back, and that one, like the house is definitely more than 200 feet from the back of the lot, but the garage is a bit closer. Oh, sorry, I've just accidentally gone onto I can't, give me 1 second. So now the back of the house, which I think is where the new garage is going to be, is 180 something feet from this brook. It's off their property. We did take a look yesterday. I didn't see any wetlands on the back of the site. So we are dealing entirely with riverfront under our bylaw. So there was a little bit more confusion as to whether, I don't think they understood that we usually, with a full tear down and rebuild, we do usually regulate that under the stormwater bylaw as well. So we ask that we know what it is that they're doing for stormwater, because otherwise it would go through us with a stormwater, for a stormwater permit anyway. So they had also produced these civil plans. Now, I don't think they wanted me to show it just because the distances are wrong, but this one, just so you know, shows how they were proposing, I'm not sure if this is final now because there was some confusion over this, but they were proposing to put in an infiltrator in, which was going to take at least some of the runoff from the roof, and to put in a stone trench with a perforated pipe along the driveway, with the driveway I would assume to be pitched towards that pipe, so that all of the water would be infiltrated on site. So there was just some questions today, some to and fro, as to whether it was over the 10,000 square feet and as to whether it's actually inside or outside the buffer zone. So that was the confusion.
So it is.
Sorry, riverfront.
So how many, to clarify for the commission, how many feet closer into the riverfront is this?
Closer than the existing?
Existing.
Well, it's actually pretty similar to the existing. I think it's maybe a few feet.
Yeah, about 185 from the edge of the brook with the new house.
And what about the old structure, the outer edge of the old structure?
I don't know if we,
The old structure, the back of the garage is right here. Do you have an overlap?
that red dimension would show the house, but I don't know if we have a garage dimension exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's 10 feet or something. It's not a lot, but it brought them closer.
All right. Okay.
We were considering
15.
all the setbacks when we were designing this, so we were asking for a small release.
Sure. All right. Okay, so, okay, let's go to the commission and see if they have questions or just comments. All right, Don?
I don't have any further comments.
All right, Indra?
No, I don't have anything at this point.
Okay, that's fine. How about Ed? Ed, are you muted by any chance?
Sorry about that. I was trying to find something, but it's not what I was thinking. So no, nothing to add.
All right, Kent? Bill?
But we do need the drainage specifics, not only the infiltration, but what's going into it and how you're handling like driveway runoff. Is it pitching to a trench? Is it, we don't want the driveway running off into the street, so we're gonna need to have that information for the next meeting in order to be able to.
Well,
make
this
decisions, right?
this is an RDA.
Oh, this is an RDA.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could close to that.
But the question was whether I don't think they realized that it's the same department that actually issues the stormwater permit. So you would have been providing it to us anyway.
Yeah, our intent is to
For the building.
meet the guidelines. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll show that we have a civil engineer that will draw that up and
Right.
All right.
I don't believe it was required for this meeting, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did say it to you guys on an email yesterday to be prepared to explain how the stormwater was going to be managed because we do regulate it under.
Right, so
So the civil drawings that you have, that will be the same plan. The only difference on those civil drawings was his dimension was off, but
Okay, so,
systems.
So do we have a copy of that, of that?
full text and a stone trench,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
How does it handle the runway from the driveway runoff being handled?
in other words, could you, one of you go over how the stormwater off the house and off the driveway is being handled?
Now I see it, now I see it, okay, because I didn't see that drawing.
there's a grid.
Go out, you can go up there and point if you want.
You have the pump system, that's where all the gutter leaders would be pointed to be able to collect the water, and this is for the driveway. The only thing that we're pointing out, so maybe it's alarming you, is that the 200-foot setback drawn here is in the wrong location.
Yeah, no, I got that, I got that.
We understand that.
But the way you're handling the stormwater is exactly the same.
Correct. Has nothing
That's-
to do with the setback.
Okay, and Bill, do you have more questions? We're on you.
Well, I'll just clarify, what's going into the storm tank? Is it the house and the garage runoff?
You say garage, you mean the structure?
Yeah.
Yeah, the roof.
The roof.
It's actually only part of it, which is something I should have, I guess.
What we're pointing out here too is
Okay.
the driveway runoff.
In the stormwater, in the drainage calcs that you sent, it looked like only part of the rooftop was going into the Cotex system. And I was wondering where the rest is going.
It would be per regulations that are required.
This is the regulations that are required. So where are you proposing to put how are you proposing to infiltrate the water on site? Is it just going to be that some of it's going into the Cotex and some of it would be to grass?
When I spoke to the engineer.
The town engineer or your engineer? Right, okay, yes.
He explained to me that the calculations are what per requirements of Burlington to run off the water from the roof into the system, and anything else would be distributed through the grass.
Okay.
That is not required to distribute into the Coltex system. This primarily is meant for the driveway runoff.
So some of it is going on to the grass.
I know what he's saying. The way it's actually written, we talk about it can't be any more post-development than it is pre-development. So they kind of, they looked at the impervious before and after, and they're kind of dealing with that. So as long as it's going into the grass and some of it's going into the Coltec, that's okay.
We're an experienced farmer. My words can either be believed or not believed, but this is not the first project we're doing in Burlington. We're finishing up one in 5 Grandview, and I think you did a review of that.
No, because you said you were under the 10,000 square feet.
Okay, but we didn't do a review there. So what I'm getting at is that we wouldn't distribute the water onto somebody's yard or onto the street. That's very well known for anybody. So if the requirement is such that we need to increase the Coltex system to distribute more of the square footage of the roof, that is definitely going to be addressed, and if that needs to be put as a part of the condition, we're all for it. Pretty typical.
All right, so Eileen and John, would it be your recommendation that what we see here is how the stormwater is being routed? Is it enough comfortable to close, or what more do we need in order to close next time? Or are you okay with what we have?
Say, no, I'm okay with this as it stands. I think
Yeah.
John has something to add though.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have your civil plan changed to just fix the setback distance.
Mhm.
When you do that, could you also have the civil put in the erosion control line?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Thanks. I think we have enough information. We can certainly condition the other downspouts that aren't going to the Caltech. That they, be put to grass and not to pavement.
All right, so let me ask the commission, does anyone here object if we move forward with this? Because I don't want to delay this if we have what we need. Okay, so,
No, I have no objection now that it was explained to me. I just wanted to make sure, your job as the designer, right? And our job is to make sure that you have. So I'm now satisfied. So thank you.
all right. No one else?
No, I don't have any problem either.
All right, is there anyone in the audience again for 4 Morrison Road? I don't remember if I asked for that, but. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to review the documents and then carefully list any conditions to make sure we have all the little I's dotted and.
You guys a copy of this?
Yep. You have that. Okay, so we'll just go through it and that will be it.
Okay, I think I need to update the plan reference because we really just got stuff today. So I'm going to reference the civil plans because that's giving us the most information about the stormwater, okay? And the fact that I'll just update it to say it'll, okay? I just want to put that out. The applicant proposed to demolish an existing garage that's within the riverfront area to a locally regulated stream and to construct a new residence with attached garage and deck within the RFA. The existing house is outside the RFA. The new house will be approximately 185 feet from the stream. Oh, we forgot to ask whether you're proposing to do any grading behind, like where your site fence is now, or remove any trees. I mean, there's some shrubs there. Are you proposing to remove any trees? Okay, well, I'll just remove that part. The proposed work was located within the outer 100 feet of the riverfront area of an unnamed brook. The brook is not perennial, but is jurisdictional under the Burlington Wetland Bylaw. The commission regulated the stormwater management of this project in this determination of applicability under Burlington's erosion and sedimentation control bylaw, rather than requiring a separate filing. So this just says that the commission is voting on this decision as described tonight. Sediment barriers shall be installed around the limit of work area, including across the frontage at Morrison Road. Compost tubes a minimum 9 inches in diameter. I think that was what was in your details in your civil plans. Shall be backed with properly towed in fabric fence shall be used as sediment barrier at the site and shall be installed by hand, and a 50 by, say, 20 foot wide stone construction entrance shall be installed. That was also in your civil plans. There shall be no clearing or grading beyond the edge of existing lawn. A silt sack shall be installed in the catch basin in front of the property and shall be cleaned of debris after each rain event. All construction demolition materials and excavated soil should be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. Materials should be securely stockpiled, and the stockpile if it's close to the street, it should be, if it's more than 5 feet high, it should be 20 feet from the street. No tracking of sediments onto roadways, and if tracking occurs, then sweep it. No filling or grading on the property beyond what is required for the approved work and beyond what's on the approved plan. Don't dump anything into the wetlands. No invasive plant species should be planted anywhere in Burlington. Rooftop runoff shall be infiltrated on the lot and not discharged into roadway or adjacent lots. The applicant proposed to use 3 storm tech chambers surrounded by crushed stone. If other methods of infiltration are to be used, they shall be appropriately sized with supporting calculations submitted to the Conservation Department for approval. No downspouts shall be directed to the driveway. I think that takes care of the whole, if there are any other downspouts, they would go to grass. The driveway shall be pitched to a 2 foot wide by 2 foot deep stone trench lined with filter fabric and containing a 6-inch perforated pipe, that being the French drain that's on the plan and not to the street. A trench drain or grass swale may be substituted with the approval of conservation staff. No pesticides, fungicides, herbicides. And then the last ones are about how Eileen is likely to be inspecting and what you would need to do to get your occupancy permit. Would you like me to add the same thing into this one about the driveway?
Yes.
Want that to become a standard thing?
Yes.
Okay. Do that.
All right. Okay, anybody online want to discuss any of these conditions? Any other commissioners?
No.
Okay, let's go to in person. Kent, anything? All right, Bill?
No, nothing further.
Okay. Let's see. Do we, does this, I don't know if I missed it or not. Do we say there shall be no filling or grading on the property beyond what is required for the approved work? You said something earlier, Eileen, about there'll be no grading beyond something.
It was the second sentence also says the grade of the existing yard shall not be altered beyond what is shown on the approved plan.
Okay, is that, you're satisfied with that? Because you asked a question before, and I know you had some wording.
Yes, sorry, I was just making sure that there wasn't any grading that they hadn't shown us behind. I mean, it's all pretty flat, so you're not probably gonna have to do very much. But making sure that they weren't doing anything behind in the riverfront area that we just weren't aware of. Because
So-
it's been this process in this town.
So should you put no grading in the riverfront area?
Oh, we can.
We were gonna put a pool in there.
Okay, let's have a reset.
No, well, it does say no clearing or grading beyond the edge of existing lawn.
That's fine. That, you think that covers it?
I mean, it doesn't.
We have no
the part
reason
right.
to be on the back there at all, really. Past there's a ground level patio, and that's about it.
I just wanted to be sure we were understood what was happening.
You do know it'll cost you an extra 50 to 100,000 to get that pool in.
Especially with the weight these days, right?
That's right.
You guys are busy for at least 2 years.
You know, I know it.
I'm just going to take the same sentence from the one we agreed on in the last.
Right.
Stormwater is infiltrated on site and driveway stormwater is directed into the stone trenches, okay? Just telling you that's what I'm putting in there, okay?
And did you, and in this document, does it say anything about the location of the discharge of water onto the grass? Do we have to say anything about the location not near the lot lines?
Leave it already said that.
I don't.
Well, it says something about not onto the, onto others. The project should not increase the rate or volume of runoff nor cause flood or storm damage to abutters of the property or others. I mean, if they have pipes that are clearly directing something towards a neighbor, then they won't get a CO from me.
Right. That covers it. Right. And
They'll be fine.
We do have 15-foot setback, right?
Right, they have plenty of room. Right, exactly. There's 15 feet.
And the swale that you're putting in, it doesn't have an outlet. It's not meant to flow to the back of the property. Is that correct?
Sorry, repeat that?
The swale that you're putting in is not meant to flow to the back of the property. It's supposed to infiltrate. Is that correct?
That's correct. Everything goes into the infiltrator.
So if it overflows and floods, it will overflow onto a neighbor's property.
Do you mean the French drain?
Driveway? The driveway, yeah, that's that trench. So,
Above down the side of the driveway, the stone, the pipe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, what you did on a previous one is you asked for a berm right behind it, which would direct it
A berm right behind what?
right behind the trench. We did that on a previous one just a couple of weeks ago. Do you remember?
No.
Divide the property.
Well, here's the thing. If there is water going on to the adjoining property, I don't think we often see a stone trench right on the property line.
Not usually, no.
So if this overflows and doesn't handle the water as fast as the rain's coming down, then the neighboring property, I mean, someone step in here and correct me if I'm wrong. Neighboring property is going to get water from this property. Is that correct?
In my past experience, the area of the driveway would be calculated in a 100-year storm calculation to be handled by that riprap that you see on the left.
Yes, and in other words, what you're saying, sir, is if it works as intended, there'll be no issue.
I would say so correctly.
Right, and I would agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is to Eileen, do we need any wording that says if the stone trench discharges water onto a neighboring property, the owner, these people will be required to fix it, which will probably be a swale going to the back of the property, which is all it is.
That's fine.
Okay,
Fine.
so could we put in, do you object to some wording like that?
Oh, that wasn't.
No, I wouldn't. I would say that that's a typical code request, that you cannot discharge any stormwater
Right.
from neighboring.
It's just that we don't often see a stone thing right on the edge of someone's property,
Right, like usually the driveways are removed from the
right?
edge.
So could we,
In my opinion, it would be a concern, and I'm not telling anybody anything, I'm just saying my opinion, professional opinion, if I was to look at it as third party, is I would be concerned with the water shedding off the building onto the driveway, and now that's being handled by the Coltech system.
of course,
So all we are concerned about is the square footage of the driveway, and
right. Well, the only thing, it really doesn't, what you presented is fine. If the infiltration trench works as intended with the runoff off the driveway, then there's no issue. But if it doesn't, I'm asking these people here that are writing it,
Driveway.
whether we should say something that before an occupancy permit is issued, the contractor, the owner will be required to fix it so water doesn't discharge onto the neighboring property. That's all.
there's signs of discharge onto the neighboring property, absolutely.
I mean, you may fix it before we even have to ask you, of course. I mean, so,
The only thing that I could see, if, let's say, the silt is not handled properly, it could clog it prior. So that would be then showing signs of not proper absorption, but
hopefully,
like a failure on us. And
right, so I understand. All right, can you put some wording in to articulate what we're talking about?
Okay. I was just gonna say that very typically, most developers put the trench in last thing, so if it wasn't working out,
Great.
I wouldn't necessarily see it if it wasn't working. So, okay, now I'll put the words
The
in,
driveway is the last thing we would do.
Yeah.
As well,
exactly.
grading on.
They put that final coat in last thing. Okay,
Well, it may get,
Okay with that condition, I think it's nothing really of big.
that's true.
okay.
Okay. All right, so are you done reviewing, Eileen?
Yes,
All right, any comments from the commission? Could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for conditions as discussed for the property at 4 Morrison Ave under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Ed,
All right, Don, how do you vote?
Yes,
Indra?
Yes,
Ed?
yes.
And Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes,
And the chair is yes. By a vote of 600, the negative conditional determination for the project at 4 Morrison Ave is approved.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good luck with your project.
Thanks. And many more.
Thanks for answering all our questions. Appreciate it.
oh,
Ed.
see.
All right, so Eileen, you got that wording, some kind of wording in about,
I will actually I will recheck the video tomorrow to make sure I understood what you meant.
okay,
I'll get it.
that's fine. Thanks, Eileen. Appreciate it. All right, next. We have a request for a minor engineering change, 25 Network Drive. We have the Nordblum Company, and it is a storm water permit.
Are you now going to share?
Yeah, we got it to work.
I have to log that so I can instead of, oh, okay, whatever you want to do.
Oh, we can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That you can do it at your own pace then. Yep. I'll just open it as a backup.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Joseph White. I'm a civil engineer with BSC Group, and with me is Emily Derrick, also with BSC Group. We are the the project engineers on this project representing Nordblum. We're in front of you today for a minor engineering change for 25, 35, and 95 Network Drive, which all connect within the Network Drive campus. And I just want to share first our previously approved plan, which is this plan here. So the area that we're talking about is within this box, and then this driveway that goes up in front of 95 Network Drive. And the minor engineering change is to modify this layout. For the driveway that goes up to 95 Network Drive, it's really just a realignment of that, along with some changes to the sidewalks, adding and subtracting parking spaces in different locations. And then some minor changes to kind of the stormwater and utility infrastructure in terms of moving catch basins, just to go along with the new grading scheme there. And then as you get down towards this intersection where it connects to 25 here, a lot of the changes for this part of the project for 25 have been kind of ongoing for months, just design development, as far as working with the tenants, working with Nordblum, to make kind of minor site changes, changes to the building. For example, loading docks being moved, further design on the generator layout, that type of thing. So it's been kind of ongoing months of building small changes, which we have here in front of you today. And I'll go to our full minor engineering change plan set here. So this is basically an overall picture. The red line work you see is what's being proposed, and it's laid over the black line work, the bold black line work, which is the prior approved layout on site. So this is 25 Network Drive. This is the building. It's kind of on the downhill side of this project. And it does look like a lot of red, but again, a lot of it is, for example, there's a loading dock on the front side of the building and on the back that's been now changed. So there's two loading docks on the back, which affected all the utility locations, curb locations, that type of thing. The building got smaller on the right side here. And again, these are some kind of the more significant changes here. And I can go into detail about more of the minor things, but I think it's probably better if you have questions, I can answer them. But I do just want to cover the intersection area that goes up to 95, which is in here. So again, the black line work was previously approved. So there was this driveway that came up from 25 Network Drive and connected into the parking lot here by 95 Network Drive. The proposal here was to shift that kind of towards the site, which would still be going over existing parking lot area, provide a sidewalk that comes in here further away from the driveway. And the intent is just to create a more, safe travel for pedestrians and allow more easier traffic flow for vehicles on the site. We did increase the radiuses here to allow for truck traffic to get down to the loading docks down at 35 Network Drive. I'll just kind of keep going here. So this is the grading plan. The grading scheme is largely unchanged. A lot of it is due to the loading docks being added in the back, elevation changes, the building shrinking over here, these contours being adjusted. Again, aside from moving catch basins and that type of thing, it's largely unchanged. Overall, we're actually reducing the approved impervious area for the overall site there. I'd be happy to take any questions. I could go through every detail, but obviously there's quite a bit of red line work. Our feel is that a lot of it is minor, kind of ongoing with the design development of the project. So I'd be happy to take any questions at this point.
All right, John and Eileen, what is your take on this, please?
So it looks like a lot of red, but I mean, this was a stormwater permit and we really focused on reviewing the stormwater management system of the site. And there's really no changes to that other than moving things around a little, same number of catch basins, same stormwater system, a little bit less impervious area. So it's a really pretty minor change as far as the stormwater system goes. And that's the focus of our permit.
All right, and just to be clear, you're reducing impervious surface with these changes?
Yes.
By how much?
Should be numbering.
Yeah, it's about 9,000 square feet. 9,000 square feet?
9,000 square feet.
Yes, and that's across the three sites, the 25, 95, and 35. So with all of these changes to the
At 9,000 square feet turning into green space?
Yeah.
Some of it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's no longer impervious. It includes the building being reduced, the footprint over here. That's kind of the big area where this came from, and then also up. Say, go back to here. So these islands in this parking lot were expanded to allow for sidewalks to come through closer to the building, kind of separate the driveway from the sidewalk over here. So there's additional green space created in there as well, which are kind of the big areas. And then just ongoing landscape changes around the building, that type of thing, throughout the design process for 25 Network Drive.
All right, thank you. John, do you have any concerns over this at all?
No.
Okay, let's go in reverse order. Bill?
No, like you said, it's a lot of red, and at first glance you go, oh my God, but it really is a collection of minor changes. The fact that the building footprint is being reduced by 8,000 square feet, and that's going to become green spaces is a benefit to these changes, so I think it's fine.
All right, keep going. Kent?
Just what Bill pointed out.
All right, and then we'll go with Ed.
You're muted, Ed.
I did it again. Didn't really say anything to add.
All right, okay, and next is Indra.
Yeah, just want to be sure. So there is no change in the drainage calculations, right?
That's correct. The extent of the changes as far as stormwater goes, I think we might have added a couple of catch basins just due to the grading, to make sure we're capturing, all the runoff into those couple of new catch basins, and the rest of it was moving ones that were already approved. Again, just to correspond with grading changes to make sure we weren't missing any areas.
And since your impervious area is decreasing, so the calculation, whatever you had, should be good, right?
Yes, yep, we're not increasing the peak flows off the site.
All right. Thank you.
Good, thank you, Indra. Next, Dawn, anything more?
No, nothing else to add.
All right, the chair has nothing to add either. So I guess the next thing to do would be to vote a minor engineering change. Could I have a motion to show agreement with the application for a minor engineering change for the property located at 25 Network Drive?
So move.
So moved. Indra.
Second.
Okay, little competition there.
Yeah.
All right, John, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Indra?
Yes.
And Ed?
Yes.
Okay, Kent?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. By a vote of 600, the minor engineering change with all the red on the drawing is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks.
So Larry, unrelated to this minor engineering change, when this project was permitted, the commission had requested an inspection of the drainage system for the entire site and whatever maintenance needed to be performed, that it be performed. So we're still looking forward to receiving that.
Oh, no, we got it.
I did get it.
I'm sorry. Did you not? We got that.
Okay. I did submit that. There were,
Sorry.
you'll see it there. There were a couple of outlet points that we couldn't get to this time of year.
Okay.
They're buried in poison ivy and everything, but we can follow up on those.
Excellent.
Yeah, I do have a report. As long as you guys have it, you can review it.
Cool.
Yeah, mid-August, looked at 3 basins. Survey was limited by the existing water levels in basins 2 and 3, et cetera. We'll take a look at it. Yeah,
We can distribute it to you guys.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, have a good evening, folks.
You too.
Okay, now, and moving ahead, we're on item number 7, continued public hearing, notice of intent, 1 Burlington Mall Road. This is requested by Lincoln Property. It is a public hearing. It is to construct a commercial building, DEP file number 122-676. Good evening.
Good evening. Steve Maron with Bowler, here representing the public.
Last but not least, you were waiting patiently.
I was, so
We
hopefully I'm
appreciate it.
overdressed here tonight, but I'm not the only one with the jacket on, so I feel good in this room. I do have a presentation here if I want to put it up, but really, there's more, the only item that we have to share is some technical data more than, if we want to put something on the screen to refresh folks of what the project is. This is the sort of out parking lot at the Burlington Marriott site. The proposal is to put a 95,000 square foot lab building with the
Right.
on there.
As I remember, there was test pits to do and you did
Yes.
some and some, the staff was going to take a look at the wetlands, all the poison going to be there and.
And I'm happy to update on the test pits
Phosphorus calculations.
and the phosphorus calculations as well.
And you had to submit a 20-foot waiver, wasn't there?
We did. There's some work within that zone, but it's all within existing parking lots today.
Okay. And we talked about not calling the rain garden a rain garden, something like that?
And we did, with the results of the soil testing, so it's to go back from
So why don't you start at the beginning?
point one.
If I have the right list, okay.
That does sound like the right list, correct. So the information, the new information we got was some soil testing on site. The primary reason for the soil testing was to explore the depth of ledge. The depths of ledge were pretty consistent with what we had assumed based on old historic plans on the property. However, the fill material turned out to be a blast rock, so really chunky remnants from blasting of rock are in the larger fill portions. What that did is it changed our approach to the rain garden, where we, based on the geotechnical engineer's recommendation who did the testing, we cannot infiltrate in the area where we had proposed the rain garden. So we're not changing the size of the rain garden, but we are changing the construction of the rain garden. So what we're doing now is we're putting a rubber liner underneath. So we'll still have the rain garden. We have 2 feet of treatment media underneath or within the rain garden. And then we'll have under drain system underneath that. So we can get the treatment, we can get the low impact development benefits of the rain garden. We can get the phosphorus removal from the rain garden, but we cannot let the water continue to infiltrate down through the blast rock. So we'll then intercept the water in an under drain pipe system and pipe it to the current outfall.
I see, okay.
So we do not get credit for the infiltration component, but we still get the credit for the treatment component.
Got
It did change our approach a little, but you would never know from the surface. This is all what's happening underground.
Okay.
So it did change a little bit, but again, on the surface, it'll be a vegetated rain garden of the same size that we've reviewed previously.
Oh, it's still being treated, but instead of going vertical, it's going horizontal
It
afterwards.
goes horizontal.
Yeah, at the end, it goes horizontal. Yeah.
And then our infiltration system was just outside of the rain garden, and we kept the size, but we did have to shift it a little further away from the blast fill rock area. But we still have a roof infiltration system for the building at the same size, just a different location.
Okay, does anyone have, why don't we just take each one in turn and just see if anybody has any questions?
Sure.
Does anyone in the commission have questions about, this gentleman talked about the infiltration rain garden area?
Nope.
Nope,
Andrew, you have something?
nope.
I have one question then, sir.
Yes.
How do you, what is the measure of performance that tells you that it's working? Like, how do you know it's working?
So the EPA has a tool to calculate the phosphorus removal. And it's based on the soil media depth, volume, amount of voids, and these are all EPA design characteristics that they require. And based on that tool, it calculates the anticipated phosphorus removal.
I see. Okay, so if your engineer, you, I guess, verify that it's been done according to spec,
Correct.
then it's presumed to be working.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, thank you for answering.
Yes. And there are requirements. I do have a copy of the draft order of conditions. There's requirements for the maintenance of the rain garden. There's vegetation maintenance requirements. So it's not build it and then everybody walks away and hopes it stays in good shapes and continues to work. There are maintenance requirements and confirmation that it's not clogging and the vegetation's not dying or you have to replace it. So there are some maintenance.
Does anyone have a question in the commission on the vegetation to be used?
Nope.
Is there a spec on the vegetation that I assume sometimes it's dry and sometimes it's wet? So is there a careful spec on the vegetation that qualifies for that environment?
Yes.
I mean, I don't need to know, I need to know that you have it.
Yes, and it is identified on the plans. It's essentially a wetland seed mix. So it's sometimes fully inundated and sometimes dry.
Because it has to be able to tolerate both conditions.
And there's not a large depth. You want to keep these very shallow so they don't, if you get too much water in them, they will kill the vegetation. So we do want it to dry out at times. I think this rain garden probably will perform better because we're using all engineered soils. We know exactly what's going in there. We're not dependent, and then with the under drain system, we're not dependent on infiltration through natural soils, which can have some variability in it. So this is a really engineered system and it should function very well.
Very good, sounds good to me. Let's go to the next item then. What's the next item on your list? Anything? The phosphorus, you've submitted the calculations.
Correct. So, and I believe staff has reviewed and agreed with the calculations we provided.
And is there any more, how about, there was something about checking the wetlands and there was discussion with John and Eileen about that. Is there something that needs to be done there?
Did check the wetlands. I think we checked before the last meeting.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because I thought I have a comment here from the last meeting. All right. And I need a 20-foot waiver request. Did you submit that? Oh, you don't need it now.
We often don't really get that in writing.
What?
It's just part of the, right?
Right, so I mean, the work they're doing in the 20-foot is to remove some pavement and put in the rain garden.
And it's on the plans.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we don't need to have a vote on a waiver.
They're already in the 20-foot, they're removing pavement and putting in the stormwater,
We
so,
didn't actually mention that, should
I
we?
mean, it's up to you, I mean, they're not going into the 20-foot, they're based on,
They're already in it.
yeah,
The existing.
they're improving the existing condition in the 20-foot, so.
Okay, all right. Does anyone else in the commission have anyone here have anything else on this list? Do you have anything else that was changed since the last time?
I do not, and on the screen here, it does show those two rectangular and one.
These two things.
Right, thank you for pointing to those.
Yeah, they're
Those two are the relocated infiltration systems, just to show. So again, they used to be down by the rain garden at the bottom of the page, and we had to move them up and around the corner and change the shape a little to make sure we kept the same volume and So it really was just a pure relocation and reshaping of those systems. And that's all we have to present tonight.
Does anyone else in the commission have anything, questions for him on anything?
No.
Oh,
Andra, Ed, Don, anything?
nothing?
Where did, the location of the
Good
boring,
question.
so you did the boring, right?
Correct.
Where did you take the boring?
Can I look at your screen? It's a little easier.
If you could show.
I can find that date.
It,
Everything.
Indra, I sent you the stormwater plan. It's probably in there.
Yeah. So it's not on that plan, the plan which is, we are sharing here?
Let's see, it is in on one of the plans. I had just put up the revised grading
Oh, I see.
plan because that was just the most relevant to us, but I do have the whole plan set up here. If we want to just check it, I can check that, where the borings were,
Network drive. No.
or when. Did you mean when or where? Let's see.
Down here where they were doing it.
They got the same, the same?
Remind me, was boring plan on the, what, sorry, was it on the main plan set?
So we're gonna go through the
Still in the
exact
same
same
place?
I think I'm
place, same size farm. It doesn't look any different. But it's draining through it and then.
I know I saw them.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so,
I'm sorry, I have the date right here.
what are we doing, Eileen?
The location of the borings. Because I don't see anything here, you know,
So the test pits were dug
districts, right?
on August 9th this year.
I'm asking, sorry, I'm asking the location. Where did you take those test pits?
And so there were 3 test pits done in the area of the rain garden and the infiltration systems.
Okay, that's what, that was my,
And we also did testing at each of the proposed building corners. So there were nine total test pits, some borings and some test pits.
okay, thank you.
All right, I guess no one else has any question. I have one more question. Because you're gonna be digging out the site quite a bit, are you stockpiling, have you designated a place for stockpiling of waste materials so that you can then cart them off? And is it far enough away from the wetlands?
There is I believe a standard condition in the order of conditions that will prohibit that from occurring within the
So many feet, usually so many feet.
of the wetlands, and we do have on the,
Let's see,
yes, on the,
maybe the erosion control plan as well.
yeah, on the northwest corner of the portion of the site is outside the building footprint and outside of the buffer zone. So I would anticipate.
It's well outside the buffer zone.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, good. Thank you for that answer. Okay, anything further? So is there anyone in the audience? This is a public hearing for 1 Burlington Mall Road. It's the lower parking lot for the Burlington Marriott, I guess it is. Proposed by Lincoln Property.
Was this your, yeah, so, sorry, where's my,
Okay,
sorry, my mask gone. This here is their stockpile area. I'm not sure if you can see that, the circle that's there kind of on the left of the screen.
right.
And really from that point going north on the page, that whole parking area is well outside of the buffer zone. And presumably that's the bulk of the stockpiling will occur. I mean, it will be different operations, right? There will not be a building under construction when most of the site work is being done. So you'll have a much larger area for the site work to occur in outside of the buffer zones. And then it gets a little bit tighter as you start construction on the building, but there's still 60, 80 feet on that side of the building.
Yes.
Will they be hauling rock off, or are they going to grind rock to use it as a sub base, or?
There's a fair amount of rock
Yeah.
in the middle of that site. It comes up pretty high in the middle. I would imagine they're hauling it off. I'm sure that they'd like to use some on site to mix in with the new base. Because I imagine as you get into the the demolition of the existing parking lot at some basis. Probably not the depth that we're calling out on the design plans. And it's a good opportunity to move some of that rock, and enhance the pavement.
They're gonna use blasting to,
I would imagine, yes. We do not have a general contractor on board yet to come up with the actual construction plan, but there's a fair amount of rock there. I would anticipate some blasting.
because of the other alternative is to use one of those reciprocating jackhammer things, a machine, and nobody's gonna wanna stay in the Marriott for a day in and day out while that's banging away.
Sure. Well,
Take a lot of that too.
What?
Take a lot of that to break up all that road.
That would take, they'd be at it for weeks doing that. Okay. Eileen, you have draft documents, or John have draft documents?
I do, but before we do, I just wanted to sort of reiterate what Steve had said about, they did provide the phosphorus calculations. The tool he's talking about is called a BCAT tool, and it all works out. They're going to be reducing phosphorus by about 55%, I think it was. Correct. And it all made sense. I don't know if it was you or somebody else had to explain to me where it was on the attachments, because I couldn't figure it out. But that is, I think they provided everything that you asked for.
What's the requirement? It is 55%, but what's the requirement?
The requirement is 50 for redevelopment, and this is mostly redevelopment, but it's partially new, so I felt it was fine. It's right in there in the middle. Anyway, they did, alter the infiltration sites, and they moved them just, to take advantage of the best locations for them, and we're fine with that too. Have you had a chance to review the draft?
I did.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to do a review?
Sure, can do. I hadn't actually opened that yet because we're moving swiftly along. Okay, I'll start with oh, it's not there. Give me 1 second because I didn't put the. Oh, I missed it. Decision. Yeah, I'll start with the bylaw. As the project description. I'm sorry, it's not sharing. I didn't stop sharing and start sharing again. Start sharing again. There. Here we are. Take two. The proposed project is the construction of a new approximately 35,600 square feet. That's the footprint. The commercial building with associated surface parking, landscaping, utilities, and stormwater management systems. We went through the filing history and a whole lot of plans, some of which were just revised recently to account for the various questions that the commission asked at the last meeting. The project involves work that will occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. Then we describe the stormwater management under the existing site conditions. The stormwater management system provides minimal treatment of runoff. Runoff from the adjacent Marriott property goes untreated to one of the wetland areas, and this will not be altered. The proposed redevelopment will result in a decrease of approximately 8,600 square feet of impervious area, and the runoff from the 84,000 square feet that will be redeveloped will pass through deep sump-hooded catch basins and 2 proprietary water treatment units prior to discharging to a bioretention area at the southern extent of the property. The runoff from the 35,000 square feet of rooftop, did I make that number correct? Will discharge to 2 low-profile subsurface infiltration systems. The applicant has calculated the amount of phosphorus that would be removed, and that equals about 56%, and that complies with the Burlington Stormwater Bylaw. They had met all the standards to the maximum extent practicable. And then the last of the bylaw just goes on to contain a lot of boilerplate and to suggest that there would be a $10,000 bond. Okay, let me just switch over to the order. I hadn't put. Does it just switch? Yes, it did. So again, the same plan references, and the first few conditions are our standard conditions also saying that we're adopting the findings made pursuant to the bylaw. Then under pre-construction conditions, this describes how the applicant will contact the Conservation Department for a pre-construction meeting, and they'll provide evidence that they've recorded the order, they've paid their bond. At that time, we'll check that the sediment barriers are in the locations per their plans and that their DEP sign is up. They are going to be using 12-inch minimum compost tubes. That's on their plan, and if they propose to use something else, then they should contact the Conservation Department. No dewatering will be permitted on this site, and the applicant.
Quick stop there for a quick second.
Yep.
When I looked at your soil logs, I didn't see like groundwater levels listed there. Maybe I just didn't see it on the soil logs. Do you know you don't need, are you confident you don't need dewatering? Or, because this says, essentially saying no dewatering unless you know.
I read that as no dewatering without
a plan. Yeah, but I wanted to know if dewatering is likely to occur or not likely to occur.
I don't think it will occur, but it may. It depends on the time of year, what we're doing, some of the drain work or the footing work. You may get into some groundwater. Some of the building work is on top of ledge now. There may be some water that needs to be dealt with, and if there is, the general contractor will submit a plan to staff for review.
And then they send it to us, is that the office, is that correct?
Usually it just goes to staff unless.
That's what I mean.
That's a reason for you to see it.
To you folks. Okay, all right. Okay.
Where did I get?
You're on number 35.
And then sweep the streets if anything gets on the streets, but there is a construction stone entrance, which is mentioned in condition number 36. That'll be 24 feet wide and not less than 50 feet long. Catch basins shall be protected with silt sacks, and please provide your SWIP, which will be needed because this property is large enough. And a stone or riprap shall be installed at the existing stormwater outlets to reduce scour and erosion. I think that was something that was mentioned some point along the way. No additional grading beyond what's shown on the plan without a written request. The pollution control conditions are all standard. They're the same with basically every single project. No spilling. If you spill anything, let us know. Check dams to be installed every 100 feet. No pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides within 100 feet of the wetlands, and only bring in clean fill. Then the inspection monitoring conditions, we're asking for a weekly written report. You can either use your own format, or we have something on the website, or we can provide you with something. Have a PE witness the installation of all of the drainage system components. There's a chance that if the inspection reports are not provided, that some portion of the performance bond could be forfeited. Then we come up to the part that I think Steve was mentioning about how there's a long-term operation and maintenance plan, and they shall undertake to submit documentation annually to the commission regarding those inspections, including the copy of the contract for maintenance.
If I could just,
Yep.
Just a clarification on number 52, where the PE is witnessing the installation of the drainage
Yep.
components. I would envision that is witnessing the installation of the rain garden, the soils beneath, the infiltration system.
Yes.
Do we need to witness pipe runs or catch basin installs that are a little more straightforward construction that are visible?
Probably not the catch spaces, but what about the hydrodynamic separators?
Yeah, usually the actual structures beyond the catch basins is what I think I've always assumed that means.
So the two treatment devices, the infiltrations, the BMPs, right?
Exactly.
Treatment systems.
Exactly. That's what, do we need to provide a little more detail on that? So that was a very good question.
Like instead of saying drainage system components, we actually say.
BMPs?
We can list them.
Okay, I'll just list them. I'll just put a note in here to say just list, and then that would vary from project to project, if we're gonna go forward with that. Is that okay?
Great, thank you.
I don't think we're talking about pipe runs though, are we?
No. That would be pretty onerous.
Right.
We are suggesting, though, that once the infiltration system is in place, that they should avoid it to avoid compaction. Please record the operation and maintenance plan at the Registry of Deeds. Then the landscape conditions are that no invasive species shall be planted, and native trees and shrubs shall be planted per the approved landscaping plan, except that we are requesting that only non-native species shall be used. Some of the plants in the plan are non-native, and so if we can just switch them to a native version.
We're good with that condition.
Okay, thank you. And then the last one is just about how you go about getting your certificate of compliance with your as-built plans and your written narrative.
Correct.
All right, is there anything by the commission, any comments on this?
Nope.
Findings? Ed, Dawn, or Indra, anything?
So I'm making a note for myself.
That's not.
To actually make sure to list the things for inspection.
How about, John or Eileen, how about the survival of the plants in the rain garden?
Oh,
Is there anything that addresses that? In other, before a certificate is, compliance is issued,
I thought
or
he said it was part of the OEM,
out of the what?
the operation and maintenance plan.
well, I suppose,
Yes.
what do you think, John? So we often do put something like that in.
Usually there's something in there about the survival of plants.
Oh, no, it actually does say, sorry, number 58, I think it says, plants, I skipped through it. Plants that are observed to be damaged or unhealthy during the first 2 growing seasons shall be replaced. Is
Okay.
that okay?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, if there's anything further from anyone here, then could I have a motion to close the hearing on DEP file number 122-676?
So moved.
Second, Don,
All right, Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The hearing is closed by a vote of 600. Could I have a motion to adopt the findings for the project at 1 Burlington Mall Road, DEP file number 122-676 under Burlington Bylaw Article 14? Is there a motion?
So moved, Ed.
Second?
Second, Bill.
All right, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The findings are approved by a vote of 600. Could I have a motion to approve the order of conditions for the project at 1 Burlington Mall Road, L number 122-676, under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved. Indra.
Second.
Second,
Seconded.
Don,
All right, Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair is yes. The finding, the order of conditions is approved by a vote of 600. Could I have a motion to require that a performance surety be posted under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for DEP file number 122-676 in the amount of $10,000?
So moved.
Second,
Second, Ken.
any discussion from anyone? All right, so on the performance guarantee, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes by a vote of 600. The requirement to post a $10,000 performance guarantee is approved. 600. Sir,
Great.
thank you very much for all your effort. You did a great job responding to all of our questions and concerns. I appreciate all that effort.
Yeah, thank you very much for all the time invested in making the project better.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and you have a very good night, sir.
All right, you as well.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, we have this to sign. Okay. All right, we'll move this along. Let's see what we have. We have, next on the agenda, we have a discussion and a vote about endorsing the,
Oh my God.
let's start that over.
I can get that. That's okay.
got it.
Yeah.
Number 8 is a discussion and
Thank you.
a vote on the endorsing the Community Preservation Act ballot question, which is on the November 8th ballot. This is something that has been a citizens committee. It has been 3 years in the making. And the first major step after 2.5 years was to get through town meeting to allow it to go to our citizens for a vote. And now we're at the point, at the final step, where on November 8th, the citizens of Burlington, the residents, will get an opportunity to vote either yes or no, like many of our neighbors have, on the Community Preservation Act. So I'd like to call, if Bill agrees, and Bill to say a few words about what we have, what's involved here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A while ago, John Sachs came before us and made a presentation seeking endorsement for the town meeting warrant article to get the Community Preservation Act onto the November ballot. This commission and 12 other boards and commissions did vote such support. Town meeting did approve that warrant article with a clear majority. So the only step remaining now between Burlington and instituting the CPA is approval by a majority of voters at the ballot box on November 8th. The CPA will create a dependable funding source of over $2 million a year dedicated exclusively to 4 program areas: open space preservation, recreation, historical preservation, and affordable housing. The CPA funds come from a 1.5% increase in real estate taxes. Our residential tax rate will go from 1% to 1.015%. That's 1% to 1.015. It's a very small increase. That 1.5% increase would also be applied to commercial real estate tax rate. But here's the key. The state then matches a percentage of those collected funds every year. Last year's match was 43.8%, which represents a terrific return on investment. It's also important to be aware that the state funds for providing the match come from a community preservation trust fund. That fund has been collected from fees placed on every real estate transaction in every community in the state since 2000. Burlington has been paying those fees for every real estate transaction that takes place for the last 22 years with no opportunity of getting any of those funds back. The only way to get matching funds is to join the CPA. Without joining, our real estate fees will continue to be paid and will fund all the other CPA communities. While all of the 4 CPA program areas will clearly benefit all Burlington residents and businesses, the specific area of open space preservation and acquisition directly relates to the goals of this Conservation Commission. We might be able to acquire and protect available properties that abut conservation lands. Several of those were lost to development just in the past year. CPA funding could be used for creating walking trails and bike paths. The Vine Brook Aquifer will not be used as a source of drinking water much longer. That entire area could become a beautiful natural resource with walking paths and boardwalks and viewing platforms. That's going to take money. There is currently underway a Mall Road and Middlesex Turnpike initiative, which is aimed at carving in some breathe space out of the asphalt desert that is the Burlington Mall parking lot. That initiative hopes to create a more pedestrian-friendly atmosphere in that general area. CPA could provide funds to assist in that endeavor. These are just a few examples of how the CPA could help promote the values of the Conservation Commission. I hope this brief explanation of how the CPA works and how it can promote Conservation Commission goals is helpful. The Community Preservation Act will be good for Burlington. I urge this commission to vote tonight to endorse voting yes on this important ballot question, and I will certainly be voting in favor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Let's hear from some of our commissioners, if they have any comments they would like to make. We'll go through one at a time and see what folks would like to say. Ed, your picture is on the screen right now, so I called on you.
Gee, thanks. No, this is without a doubt, all the effort that's gone into the CPA from just the commissioners themselves, branching out to get others' interests going has been phenomenal. Hopefully it could come to fruition, on the next big vote. I do have question that I'm trying to figure out what might be some of the things that are happening the day of the election. We always see political signs and tents and whatnot along the roadway. Is there something planned like that for the CPA so we can get that last minute thought?
Bill?
Yes, we have quite a plan for promoting this all the way between now and November. We have arrangements to speak again at all of those boards and commissions that we spoke to before to get a new endorsement for now the ballot question. We have plans to appear before any community groups we can find that are meeting. We're going to be at the beer gardens. We're going to be at Truck Day. We're going to be at Council on Aging. We're going to be at several churches and pumpkin patch and everything we can think of that might have more than 3 people in one place, and try to make a presence and pass out information. Our main goal is to educate people. I think we all believe if that people understand the CPA, they will realize that it will benefit this community. So yes, and then we are printing lawn signs. We are planning a mailing to every voting address in the town. There was also a requirement by the town clerk that she is required to mail to every mailing address in town, or I think it's every voting address in town, a pamphlet explaining the CPA and listing a pro statement and a con statement. So I submitted a pro statement to her today. She's already received a con statement from someone, and she is required to send those to everybody in town. So there's quite a bit that we've got planned to promote this and educate people and make sure they understand what's going on, including waving signs on election day. Yes.
Okay, if I could get something like that, is there an agenda of everything you just said, Bill?
On the website, there are a number of dates listed where we're going to be presenting. If you go to the website, I can't remember the tab, but you press one of the tabs and it lists all the dates where we're going to be offering information to people.
Okay, great. I will do that.
And there's also a place on there to volunteer, if
Yeah,
you want to
now-
volunteer for a yard sign.
And just hopefully everyone will remember this. The website is, yes, CPA, all one word, yes, CPA Burlington.org, O-R-G. Yes, CPA Burlington.org.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so let's go with Indra. Indra, do you have any comments you'd like to offer on this before we vote?
I think it would be great for the town, and I am in favor of this 100%. I am trying to talk with our community people just to inform them that this would be good for the town.
Good.
And Bill explained very good. I like that.
Thank you.
Very good, Indra. That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Don?
I support it 100%. It's really a no-brainer. It needs to be done.
All right, good. Thank you, Don. All right, next we got Kent.
Yeah, I mean, for the minimal cost, I think for what Bill pointed out and all the positives, like the green space, I mean, rebuilding, it's like a community pool or, a play structure somewhere in the town, you get the matching funds. I mean, I think it's this Don point, I think it's a brainer, so.
Right.
It's not just the matching funds and the $2 million a year that this will bring in, but that money can be used to leverage grants from other organizations for even larger projects. You can dedicate money for payments over a period of years to fund a project. You can accumulate money. You don't have to spend it every year. If you want to accumulate money in a historical preservation fund for several years and then do a large project, you can do it that way as well. If you don't spend the money this year, it automatically progresses to next year to be still available.
Okay, Bill, you want to say anything else?
No, I think I've said my piece. Thank you.
All right, well, I'd like to make a few comments about the Community Preservation Act. And the first is, some of people who are watching may be thinking that, oh, it's only, 18 or 17 or $18 a quarter on the average assessed value. And they may be saying, well, I can't afford anything, that I'm on fixed income, Social Security, and that is a legitimate feeling to have, okay? And you should know that if you're in that situation, okay, they have exemptions for low income and moderate income seniors, a senior being defined as over 60 years old, okay? So that you're talking in the range of between 88 and, for one or two people, and $115,000. So if your income is less than that, which if you're on Social Security by way of example, it will certainly be less than that. And if you feel you can't afford that, then all you will do is fill out a form and you waive it for the year. So the thing is, it is for people who can least afford it, that voting yes, the law is very sensitive to the fact that you have an opportunity, and the only drawback is you have to fill out that form every year. But other than that, once you get that information together the first time, and you would just do it every year, and you can be totally exempt from paying the $75 per year on the average assessed value. And obviously, if you have a home that's bigger, it would be a little more than $75, but that's what it is. So
There's
that's
also another exemption, if I might just interrupt, Larry.
Yes.
To help lessen the impact on the smaller homes and the smallest businesses, the first $100,000 of property value is also exempt from this surcharge. So if your value of your house is $700,000, we subtract $100,000 off the top, and we only calculate that additional 1.5% on the $600,000 that remains. So the smaller the house, the more that $100,000 deduction would be significant, and the same with a small business.
Right. And there's a couple of things. We have also, we have to face the fact that a substantial portion of our tax base comes from the business community. And we have, over the last 2 to 3 years, we have met with them at least 4 times with the Chamber of Commerce. And they, in general, many of them who work in this town come from communities that have the Community Preservation Act. Therefore, they are aware of the kinds of projects and the benefits that it brings to a community. And when we asked them what they thought about it, and we realized that they will be making this contribution as well, that the business community represented by the folks who come to the chamber meetings, they told us that open space, walkways, boardwalks, bike paths are all things that we as a town, from a business point of view, compete with other communities. We compete with Waltham, we compete with Lexington, we compete with a lot of other towns and Bedford for business to move into Burlington. And the attractiveness of our community is in part based on what they call amenities. And so to the extent that the CPA, the Community Preservation Act, pays for these things, not only will the residents benefit, but the business community benefits. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out, one last thing, is a major benefit of the collecting of these funds is that it accumulates a fund which can only be spent by town meeting. Okay, no one else can approve a project or funds for a project without the final approval by town meeting. But it allows for much larger projects that are very difficult to bring to bear through the annual budgeting cycle. We fund police projects, we fund fire engine projects and the fire department and school projects and things, all kinds of capital projects. But such things as boardwalks and bike paths are very expensive. And this would be a source of funds where we could seek matching funds for the larger type projects that are not easy to fund through the annual budgeting process. Such things as Muller Road, it's a safety hazard. There is wetlands and businesses on Muller Road. If you want to walk from Middlesex Turnpike up Muller Road onto Mary Cummings Park, everyone knows you are taking your life in your hands to walk along the street. There is no sidewalks. The CPA could build a major boardwalk through that beautiful wetland, and it would serve as a public safety purpose as well as a wildlife and nature walk viewing purpose to get to Mary Cummings Park. We also have, some of you, most of you in fact don't know, in the middle of our town, we have a beautiful gem of a natural area. We have the Vine Brook Aquifer area where we've been pulling our water from that is now being closed down once we connect to the MWRA. There is a bridge of a couple of 100 feet extending from the Islamic Center and into that wetland, into a really majestic, pristine, natural area. We could, with CPA funds, extend that large bridge boardwalk and extend all the way up to Terrace Hill Ave. And we could fund a project like that, would make it a project unique in the whole area north of Boston. It would be absolutely tremendous. So we have the potential to fund those kind of projects if we simply, on November 8th, vote yes for the Community Preservation Act. So I would urge anyone who is watching and listening to this, I hope you'll please consider voting yes. It will benefit Burlington tremendously. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to ask Bill one more question. One of the things that the Community Preservation Act does, and it's not in our area, is I wanted to ask if he could comment about what could be done in historical preservation, like the Francis Wyman House. Could you comment on that a little bit?
Sure.
Some people might be very interested in that.
Historical preservation is one of the areas that is funded by the CPA because it's an area that the state recognizes often underfunded after all the necessary expenses that Larry mentioned, police, fire, et cetera. The CPA, the act itself requires of the money you collect, 10% must be put into a fund for 3 program areas, one of which is historical preservation. So if we were to collect $2 million, $200,000 a year must be put into historical preservation fund. There's a lot of things that could be done. The Francis Wyman House is one. It's one of the real historic treasures that exists in Burlington, and it needs to be preserved. And there's some work going on there through private funding to preserve it, but the CPA could help make that happen more efficiently and perhaps faster.
The police station?
The police station building is a historical building. It originally was the center school. And there has been some talk about trying to find another facility for the police station if that were to occur, and they built a new school, a new police station, like they built a new DPW place, then that building might become available for historic preservation and turn it into some other performance arts center or something else could be done with it. But it could be preserved rather than torn down and redeveloped into something else. So there's a number of things that can be done. One of the things that I've heard as a negative, or not a negative, but an opposition viewpoint, people have said, well, if you look at the annual budgets for the last 10 years, historical preservation in Burlington, we've only spent about $10,000 a year. So why should we now say we need 200,000? Well, the answer is $10,000 a year to preserve the heritage and protect the history of Burlington is disgraceful that we're only spending that amount of money. Our historical museum, the town museum, is crammed with stuff that has yet been inventoried, it hasn't been assessed for its true value to the community. It's not being adequately displayed. The place isn't air conditioned, and so it's not protecting the environment that these artifacts are kept in. I mean, that's just one example of something that is just significantly underfunded. So, you know, this fund, I think, would help in the historical preservation area quite a bit. And there's all these other areas, I mean, the recreation and the affordable housing, I mean, we're not gonna get into all that tonight because we're really seeking approval of the Conservation Commission, but we're gonna attend these other commissions and boards as well and ask for their approval, and again, educate the people as much as we can.
Well, most people who are watching know that if you want to move to something smaller that's affordable, there are very few options in town. Everybody knows it.
Truly affordable, you know,
Truly affordable.
again, the counter argument is, oh, we've got 12% affordable housing, we're only required to have 10%. That's what they call capital A affordable housing. It's not small a affordable housing. It meets the requirements, but it's $2,000 a year for a rent. It's not truly affordable housing, and that's severely lacking. There are significant waiting lists years long to get into our affordable senior housing, for example.
Right. So, with that, Eileen or John, you have anything further you'd like to add? Okay, I didn't want to overlook it. Okay, so if there's nothing further from anyone,
Can I ask one question?
you certainly can, Indra.
How much tax will that be at $200,000 a year more would be collected if it passes?
This,
If it passes.
this passes, last year would have been about $2.2 million each year. Now, when I said 10% must be put into the fund for affordable housing, historical preservation, and open space and recreation, that's the minimum. The other 70% can be spent on any of those projects, depending on the proposals that are received. And anybody, anywhere can submit proposals, individuals, clubs, churches, schools, boards and commissions. The commission could say, we want to propose a project to the CPA funding. And so, the expenditures get reviewed by a local CPA committee, and then recommendations are made to the town meeting for approval. Everything has to be approved by town meeting, but it's outside of the normal budget process.
There is one last point before we vote. We have a website, and I mentioned it before, yes, cpaburlington.org. At the top of that website, there is a tab. It says 1-minute videos. We have 8 1-minute videos with people around town who are talking for 1 minute about a particular project. So it is worth seeing, mainly because I did one of the videos myself. Okay?
Jennifer, another one.
And Jennifer did one ourselves, one of our conservation.
They really are excellent.
Okay, and what, if you support this, oh, look at this. Eileen actually put it up. If you support voting yes on the Community Preservation Act, you can help us by doing something for 5 minutes. You click on one of those videos for a project that you particularly like. If you have young children and you say, yes, would be nice to have a swimming pool in Burlington like some of these other towns, yes, it would. You click on that video, you copy the link at the top of that page and go to your Facebook page, if you're old enough to have one, and do a post. And you can either say something like, I think this would be great for Burlington, and then paste that link and it would automatically come up and will take people to that and they can see that particular 1-minute video. So what we're asking for is, if you're really in favor of this, you could really help us out by spreading the word. There's also a few other things on the website. There's places, if you personally agree that Burlington should vote yes on the Community Preservation Act, you can press the endorse button, and there's a place to simply list your name with all the other names. There's also organizations there, which is what we're going to vote on tonight, but people have listed all their names, and you could join the list by just pressing endorse. If you want to help us get the word out on the Community Preservation Act, you can press the button for donate, and it will take credit cards. And of course, there's the volunteer button. So any of those things can be done, but the minimum is if you could share the link to these 1-minute videos, we would be so grateful for your help on it. All right.
One other thing, if I may, while
Yes.
we're sparing our enthusiasm here. There is another link called communitypreservation.org. That's communitypreservation.org. That's a link to the statewide CPA website. And that has a wonderful source of information, including a list of every project that's ever been approved in the 189 communities in the last 22 years. So you can search and sort and see what kinds of things have been approved in the history of this program.
Eileen just put it up.
Yeah, and of those 189 communities, although they have a mechanism for getting out or opting out, none of them have ever done so in the 20-year history. So everybody who's gotten in has said it's a good deal and they have not opted to get out.
So Bill, which communities around us have done this?
Oh, Bedford has done it, Arlington has done it, Bill Ricker has done it. Of course, Concord and Lexington have done it. Some of them have been in it already since the beginning for 19 years.
Tewksbury did it?
I think Tewksbury, yep. So there's a number of local communities that have been in it for, Bill Ricker joined just, I think, 2 years ago. So there is, you can search on boardwalks and up will come every boardwalk that's ever been built, using these monies and how much money was spent and how much was CPA money, how much was leveraged with other grants. It's just amazing the amount of effort that's gone into compiling this website.
As folks can tell, the commission members on the Conservation Commission are gushing with enthusiasm. So
We hope to make you as enthusiastic when you go to the ballot box.
we're hoping for your help. Okay, could I have a motion to formally endorse the Community Preservation Act referendum ballot for a vote of yes on November 8th, statewide ballot?
So move.
Who was that?
Ed.
Oh, you were quick, Ed. You wanted to be first. Okay, okay, I'll call it. 3, 2, 1. Who wants to be second?
Second, Don.
All right, Don. Okay, you were the fastest one. You get it to Don. Okay, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Not yet?
No, I was making a joke. Yes.
Yes, okay. All right. Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes absolutely yes. All right, so by a vote of 6-0, the Burlington Conservation Commission has voted to enthusiastically endorse a yes vote for the Community Preservation Act on the November 8th ballot. And look at Ed right there.
We'll see you outside with that sign on voting day.
All right. Thank you, Ed.
You bet.
That was perfectly timed, Ed. Okay, so I guess we can move along to administrative things. Planning board comments?
One Burlington Mall Road, they'll want comments on that.
Okay, you'll draft up something for them. Subcommittee and staff reports? Nope. Other business?
So we have town meeting in 3 weeks.
September 28th.
Yeah.
Okay. And the upcoming meetings are, the next one is September 22nd before town meeting. And the one after town meeting is October 13th. And without delay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Don.
Great. Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Kent?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
The chair votes yes by a vote of 6-0. This meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission is adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.
Not be at the next meeting.
What?
No, I'm at my.